Why is that tape over there?
So, I don't know. Why do you think that tape's over there?
Maybe somebody can not sit there and maybe pass some documents if he needs it.
Yeah, that's
Why
true.
was the sheriff's all put over here? There's 1, 2, and 3. One right there.
Section's closed. You can't sit there and
Was
pass
that
documents.
because maybe if he had evidence to be put in before the court, he would not be an obstructive of his due process right?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Sir, what's your name?
Sir,
Okay.
we're adults here, okay? Let's act
Well,
like adults.
He's somebody that works with the Attorney General, obviously.
Well, if that's the case, he should identify himself, don't you think?
He doesn't have to identify.
You can everybody make sure your hats and sunglasses are off your heads. And as I said before, make sure all your cell phones are turned off. And if I see them out, this court is reconvened. Please stand up. Please stand up. You may be seated.
I'll give you one special calendar. SEP2013 matter accusations for Anthony Troy Williams, appearance is peace. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Senior Mariana, Deputy Attorney General.
Good afternoon.
Private Attorney General Anthony Williams. I represent myself in corporate persona sui juris.
Good afternoon. And the record will note the presence of standby counsel, Ms. Gutierrez.
Also of demanded, this common law jurisdiction is demanded.
Okay. Ms. Mariano, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. To proceed with the identification. State's first witness is Joseph.
Can you please ask the officer to move?
I do.
Please state your name.
Joseph Stowe,
Mr. Stock, where do you work?
Special Agent with the Attorney General's Office,
How long have you been a special agent with the Department of the Attorney General?
10 years.
Were you assigned to a case involving Anthony Troy Williams?
Yes, it was.
Did you conduct a background check for Mr. Williams?
Yes, I did.
What were the results of your background check?
He had 2 outstanding warrants in the NCIC.
Where did the warrants come from?
One was from Atlanta, Georgia, and the other was from the FBI.
What did you do after learning about these warrants?
I contacted the FBI, also the Atlanta, Georgia PD, and confirmed the warrants. And the FBI emailed me copies of the warrant and photograph of Mr. Anthony Troy Williams.
You received the warrant from Georgia and from the FBI, correct?
Yes.
And both warrants have the name Anthony Troy Williams?
Yes.
And you mentioned that you received a photo also from the FBI, correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, may I have 2 minutes?
Yes.
Mr. Sapp, I'm sure you explained warrants for identification by State's Exhibit 1. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a photograph of Anthony Troy Williams that I received in email.
And you received that September 13, 2013.
That's correct.
Can I ask you like to enter into evidence what's been warrant for identification with the victim?
All right. It'll be received.
Did you eventually meet Mr. Williams in person?
Yes.
When was that?
September 13, 2013 at 1315 hours at 425 Queen Street.
What happened when you met him?
He was placed under arrest by Special Agent Wayne Hirayama, and I entered the room and I did a custodial search on Mr. Williams.
What was Mr. Williams being arrested for?
He was arrested for extradition to Atlanta, Georgia, for molestation.
And you recognize Mr. Williams from the photo, is that correct?
That's correct.
After Mr. Williams was arrested and you mentioned the custodial search, what happened after that?
He was eventually placed in a sheriff's white vehicle or transport vehicle and taken to 240 Calvert Street for processing.
And he was booked there, is that correct?
That's correct.
Was his fingerprints taken?
He refused to have his fingerprints taken by electronic.
What happened?
Well,
What happened after that?
Once they tried to fingerprint him, he refused. He said it was unconstitutional, and the sheriff decided to do a false print. And they were struggling with Mr. Williams. I assisted by holding his arms. And when we had his hand on the electronic printer, he apparently stepped on the clicker on the floor, and it turned the machine off. He locked the machine, and we couldn't do a print because he was fighting us. And so what we had to do was place him back in the cell, and he pleaded injury.
And what happened when he said he was injured?
The sheriffs eventually took him to Straub Hospital. And we were leaving, we all left at the same time. They took him to Straub for medical treatment.
And eventually he went back to the sheriff's station.
Yes, he was eventually taken back to the sheriff's office, received.
Do you know if he was ever fingerprinted?
I found out yesterday that he was eventually fingerprinted by the sheriffs, and it was a manual fingerprint, in other words, ink, and the card was being sent to Hawaii Criminal Justice Data Center.
You see him receiving the warrants from the state of Georgia. What is Mr. Williams wanted for in the state of Georgia?
Molestation of a minor.
And you spoke to the authorities in the state of Georgia, correct?
That's correct.
And did they want him to be returned to Georgia?
That's correct. I received also an email from them prior to being arrested that they will extradite Mr. Williams back.
Is bail being requested by the state of Georgia?
No bail.
I'm sorry,
They're requesting no bail.
are they requesting that this court set the bail at no bail?
That's correct.
Did everything you testified to occur in the city of Honolulu State of Hawaii?
Yes, it did.
I have no further questions for yourself.
Mr. Williams, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can ask them.
Officer, you said that you received a complaint from the FBI and the Atlanta Police Department.
I received a warrant.
A warrant?
Copy of the warrant.
Okay, on this warrant, how was the name listed on the warrant? Who was the person on the warrant?
Detroit Williams.
And was that in all capital letters?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we need to have that established today. You don't remember?
You have a copy of the warrant, I can look at it and tell you what it is.
Your prosecutor should have a copy of it. I mean, your office should have a copy of it. You said you received it.
Yes, but I turned it over, and if you have a copy of all the people, you might have one too.
Well, I don't have all the copy of the paperwork that they sent you. They didn't give me everything.
I don't have a copy with me.
Okay, but you said that the person on there was Anthony Troy Williams.
That's correct.
Okay, and what do you define a person as?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Very relevant.
Next question, Mr. Williams.
Is a person a corporation, an entity, or a live human being?
Objection again, Your Honor, relevance of that
It's
question.
very relevant.
Sustained.
So on the warrant that you saw from the Atlanta or FBI, who did they have on there as witnesses of me committing this heinous crime?
I have no idea. I'm not investigating the case.
I mean, but you're saying you are eyewitness that you received the warrant, so you don't know what's on the warrant?
Those warrants don't have names of who the
Yes, in order for
I
a warrant to issue, there has to be witnesses to a crime committed. So you're saying that you received a warrant from the FBI and the Atlanta Police Department. I'm asking you on and for the record, who was on there listed as a witness against me for committing this heinous crime?
I have no idea because I didn't receive anything saying who's on the warrant or whatever, but I didn't do the investigation. All I'm saying is I got a copy of the warrant. Anthony Troy Williams' name was on it, and eventually he was arrested, and that is you.
So did you test the merits of the warrant?
I don't need to test no merits.
According to the law, you do. So you didn't check to see if it was a valid warrant.
I got a verbal statement. It was a valid warrant.
You had a verbal statement?
Yes.
Was this statement under oath? Notarized by a notary under oath?
Do you notarize a verbal statement, sir?
An affidavit, because it's an affidavit of arrest, but there's no notarized statement under oath. An oath means that there's a notary.
I don't want to get into no.
I'm asking you a question. So do you understand what an affidavit means? Do you? Yes, it is.
That's true.
It's
That's
very
an
good.
objection is sustained.
I'm using your own law since the judge won't follow the Constitution. I'm taking this from Chapter 832, Uniform Criminal Extradition Act. So, officer, do you understand the procedure in executing an extradition warrant?
I arrest the subject, and then it's up to the courts to decide on the extradition, not my doing.
I'm saying you don't understand what your duty is?
I didn't say that. I said I execute the warrant. It's not my duty to question what the warrant or what the judge has to determine. It's not my duty. My duty is to arrest the subject and bring him to court.
So any warrant that you get, you're just going to execute it without checking the merits of it?
I don't know what merits you're talking about, sir.
To make sure that it's a valid warrant, make sure that the person actually committed the crime or was actually in the state to
I
commit
am
the
not
crime?
a jury. I'm not the jury. I'm not the judge.
I didn't say
and
you were.
I do not question the case. My thing is I arrest the subject. His day in court will come when he faces the judge and the jury. That's not my doing.
So how did you identify?
I bring you to court to face the judge. You plead guilty or not guilty. That's up to you, not mine. I am just the arresting officer. I bring you to court and say, you've been arrested for this crime, and it's your duty to present to the court your innocence. Mine is just to bring you to court and say, you've been arrested, and that's all I need to do. You want to get out of jail, you put up a bail, but there's no bail. So
When you got the warrant,
I don't have to do any meriting of any kind of warrant. The warrant was told to me it was valid by the people in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's safe. And I arrested you.
okay, so when you got the warrant by Anthony Troy Williams, did you understand that Anthony Troy Williams, that is a different entity? There's two different entities. There's a flesh and blood entity, and there's a corporation with the same name. Did you understand that when you executed the warrant?
You're Anthony Troy Williams to me. I don't care whether you're calling yourself an entity, a human being with blood and bones, whatever you want to call yourself, you call yourself.
Okay, then how can you sit here in this court and say that you've arrested the right individual?
Because I confirmed it with Atlanta, Georgia, your date of birth, your social security. That's it.
Whose date of birth?
Your date of birth.
Was it my date of birth, or
Your date of birth.
was it the corporation named Anthony Troy
You want to
Williams?
call yourself a corporation? That's up to you. Not my doing.
I got paperwork filed on that, sir.
That's good for you.
So that's what I'm asking you. Did you check?
I don't need to check nothing more
Did
than
you check
what I
any
told you.
documentation that shows that there's a separate entity named Anthony Troy Williams and a flesh and blood living man named Anthony Williams? Did you check that?
Since you object, asking Mr. Self questions that.
He's already answered. He didn't check.
So he didn't check. So
So it's been answered.
Then he can't rightfully say that he's a witness to who I am if he didn't check.
Do you have another
There's-
question, Mr. Williams?
I got several other questions, but I'm
Then
saying
ask
that he
it.
still hasn't answered that question.
He's answered it. Ask another question if you have one.
So you're saying on the digital prints that I refused and that I said it was unconstitutional,
That's what you said.
right? And do you understand when a citizen tells you that a constitutional right is being violated, do you understand your duty to that citizen?
You have the right to object, but you don't have the right to prevent us from speaking you.
And what law says that?
You're in violation of us doing our official duties.
I asked you what law says that.
You're interrupting. You're blocking our duties as a government.
Again, I asked you what law says that,
I
sir.
answered you, sir. You can't take my answer.
You didn't give me no law. I'm asking you either show me a Hawaii revised statute law that says that, show me a federal law that says that, show me a Supreme Court case that says that, show me a constitutional amendment or article that says that. What law?
I answered you.
You haven't answered the question, sir. What law?
Your Honor, the witness has stated he's answered.
No, he hasn't answered. Just because he stated he answered don't mean he answered.
Do you have an objection?
Yes, Your Honor. He
What?
asked and answered, Mr. Self has answered this question.
He hasn't answered. I asked him what state law.
That's overruled. He asked what state law, and Mr.
Okay, I don't know
hasn't.
what name on what's not part of the law. You take it up and look in the book yourself.
No, that's your job, sir. You
Yeah.
saying you
Mr.
saying
Williams, he's answered your question now. He doesn't know what law.
okay. So then, if there is no law, then how can I be in violation of something you said that I was violating?
I answered your question already.
No, so I'm saying, how can I be in violation
The
of
judge
something that you
determines.
say that it's not a law? You can't tell me what the law is, sir. What's
I
the law?
tell you the law because I don't know the law, and a judge told
You know the reason why you don't know the law, sir? Because there is no law. Or is there a law? And if there is one, then I would like to have this courtroom recess so you can find me that law that I was in violation of.
I just told you so.
I'm asking the court to have a recess so he can find this law that I'm in violation of for them to assault me in that booking room. Where is the law?
Mr. Williams, your request for a recess is denied. Do you have any other questions?
So you're going to deny me for them to prove what law I'm in violation of?
Yes. So do you have another question?
Are you on your oath today, sir?
I was given the oath by the clerk.
What oath?
Were you here, Sid? Are you sitting there? Did you hear it?
No, what oath? I'm saying no. I'm not talking about a sworn in oath. I'm saying you're saying that you are a sheriff, correct? You're a sheriff's deputy. Is that correct?
No.
You're not a sheriff deputy?
No.
What are you?
Special agent with the Attorney General's office.
You're a special agent with the Attorney General's office. And
Correct.
do you have an oath of office that you have?
I've answered you, sir.
No, you haven't answered it.
I
The
protected
question
the
is,
United States.
what does your oath state?
I answered.
You haven't answered the question.
I'm here as a law enforcement officer. Protecting
And what
the
does
life
your
and liberty
oath
of all.
state, sir?
No, if you can object, Mr. Self has
You can't
answered
object.
and
He has to know what his oath says.
Yes, she can object. What is your objection?
He's answered and it's also a relevant question.
No, it's
It's
irrelevant.
irrelevant. Sustained.
No, it's very relevant.
If I've made a mistake, then at some point you can appeal this, but I've ruled.
Or
And
will be
if you
appealed.
have, okay, that's fine. Do you have another question?
Yes. Since you say you work for the Attorney General's office, is it safe to say that you know the laws of the state of Hawaii?
I know pretty much the laws that I can govern, yeah.
You know the laws. Okay. So can you tell me what Hawaii Revised Statute 832-3 states?
I have no idea what the section is. I don't know what law that is. You gotta give me.
It's form and demand law. It's the form and demand.
I don't know what that says.
Do you understand what the extradition laws for the state of Hawaii are?
I'm not fully. I don't.
Not fully or not at all?
I just told you, not fully.
Or not at all?
I answered you.
Do you know any extradition laws in the state of Hawaii?
What do you know, sir?
Well, I'm not on the witness stand, sir. Answer the question.
I did. I answered.
Do you know any extradition laws in the state of Hawaii?
Object, Your Honor, he's arguing with the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm asking him a question.
Sustained. Sustained.
He said he fully knows some of them. Okay, I'm asking him, do you know any? And can you quote any of them? Can you recite any of them?
Object, Your Honor, that's not relevant.
That's very relevant because if he's trying to execute an extradition warrant, so he should understand what the laws is regarding extradition.
Mr. Williams, he's indicated that
That he don't know anything.
he ran a check. He confirmed outstanding warrants for a person named
That's not the question I
Troy
asked.
Williams.
I asked, does he understand?
Whether he understands the extradition law.
So then y'all have, so then what you have in this state is offices full of officers that are incompetent, that don't even know their own state laws?
You have a question?
I just questioned you.
A question of the witness.
Officer, when you got your warrant or paper from the FBI and the Atlanta Police Department, did the entity that they're trying to seek have a social security number to it?
I believe it did.
What was that social security number?
I don't know it offhand. I'm not remembering the numbers.
You should have the paperwork. Can you, the prosecutor,
I
give him the
don't have a
paperwork?
number. I don't have a paper.
Can the prosecutor give him the paperwork? So he can have it read on and for the record?
You have the warrant?
Yes, Your Honor, but I don't believe it's relevant to have it, that the social security.
You don't believe nothing is relevant, ma'am. Can you read the whole arrest warrant for the record, please, sir?
No, he doesn't have to read the whole arrest warrant. You questioned him.
I'm asking him a question. Can he read it out loud?
No.
I was asking him.
You can ask specific questions
That's a specific
pertaining to the warrant, but you're not going to ask him to read the whole warrant
Why not?
because I say so.
Because, I mean, this is a part of the hearing, so I can have this.
Everything that's going on here is part of the hearing,
Right,
but
so
it
why
doesn't
can't
mean that it is proper or
Why is it not
appropriate.
proper to have the charges or the arrest warrant read for the record?
Listen, the reason why I permitted the prosecutor to give him a warrant is because the Social Security number may have something to do with the identification issue before the court, and that is the only issue before the court.
So why can't he read it from the warrant?
He can read the Social Security number because that's what you asked about, and that is why you asked for a copy of the warrant. So why don't you follow up on that?
Okay, after he reads that, then I'm gonna ask him, can he read the whole warrant?
You can ask another question after you ask that one question about the Social Security number.
You read the Social
I
Security
will
number.
rule on the next question when you ask him.
Can you read what the Social Security
This is
number?
not the warrant. This is an affidavit.
Okay, then that's not good.
Okay, where's the warrant?
Can I put the witness in to take the document that you want?
Yes.
This is the FBI.
Also, I have not received the arrest warrant, a copy of the arrest warrant from the FBI or the Atlanta Police Department. The only thing I have is also this affidavit of arrest. I don't have a copy of neither of those documents.
Sure. Yes.
Can you gave him a copy of for the full warrant.
No, you did not.
Okay, Mr. Williams, apparently there is no copy of the warrant,
Well, Your Honor,
or there is, and it doesn't have a social security number on it.
actually, that's it.
So, you have another question?
Okay, so if the warrant doesn't have a social security number on it, then how are you going to identify me as the person that you are looking for, that they're looking for?
I ran the NCIC. On the NCIC, it's your name, your description, your social security, your date of birth, and the saying that you are the subject of this warrant.
You said social security, and they just said they don't have the social security on there.
So I ran the NCIC, and in the NCIC, which I produce to everybody, as your social security, date of birth, and description.
Okay, do you understand that I do not have a social security number?
That's up to you. That's not up to me.
That's a question. I said, do you understand that I don't have a social security number?
Objection, Your Honor, he's asking a question that only obviously he will know whether he is a social.
No, I'm asking, do we understand that? Or I'm going to question it this way. Is it your knowledge that every citizen has to have a social security number?
In the United States, normally they do. Not all. Maybe you have immigrants, and some immigrants do. Okay.
I'm talking about naturally born citizens here.
Objection, Your Honor, it's relevant.
Very relevant to the identity. It's very relevant to the identity.
I'm going to sustain the objection. He has not been able to produce a social security number. It apparently is not on the document he was shown. So, as far as I know, there's no social security number. So move on to another area.
Okay, without a social security number, then how can you differentiate me from all the Anthony Williams and Anthony Troy Williams around the country?
I just answered that question.
No, you didn't. I never asked it.
Just answered your question.
How can you differentiate?
Can I answer the question?
I think you did. I mean, he said he had information on your date of birth, your description, your name, things like that.
I'm saying that's the information he got. I'm asking him, how do you differentiate from when you get a hit and there's other Anthony Troy Williams? How do you differentiate from the other Anthony Troy Williams?
I got your photograph, sir.
You got the photograph.
Your photograph, your driver's license photograph.
I don't have a driver's license.
That's what it
Did you verify that I have a driver's license? Did you verify the driver's license with the state of Georgia?
That was sent to me by the FBI, and that's your information.
So I don't care who it was sent by. Did you verify it?
I answered these questions.
No, did you verify it? Just because you got sent something don't mean it's verified.
Verify a state driver's license.
Yes, sustained.
Yes, it does, because I don't have a state driver's license.
Next question, Mr. Williams.
I don't have a state driver's license. So how can he verify me through a state
Tell you
driver's
what.
license?
When we're done with the witnesses, when the state has called all of its witnesses, then you'll have an opportunity to testify if you want to, but now's not the time.
Well, can I call the state as a witness?
I don't know. If you can convince me that whoever you want to call has some relevant
Yeah, I need the
information.
state of
Listen to
Georgia.
me. The issue before the court is, are you the person that is the subject of Georgia's charges and the extradition warrant? Okay, that's a very limited issue. Other issues that you want to raise, if the state can get by this identification issue, you can raise in an application for writ of habeas corpus, and you'll have a full opportunity to do that. But for now, let's try to keep focused on the identification issue.
Well, right now, I don't have no further questions other than just to state that his testimony is flawed and he's very incompetent as an officer of the Attorney General's office.
Okay, that's on the record. Do you have any other questions? Thank you.
Please call Gordon Hamari.
I need to address the court also. Why was I not given the opportunity to